Let's join our hosts with their guests and let's talk about it.
Hey everyone, Dennis O'Brien back again on Let's Talk About It, and we've got a great show for you tonight. It's Halloween, and I can see up on Main Street there, I see the Wyndham Democrats there right in front of us handing out candy, all kinds of groups. It's a great night for Wyndham Willimantic and a great night for kids and parents, and we hope to be up there joining them soon, right, Susan?
Hey, that's right, Dennis. It's happy Halloween to everybody, and, we're here, and we're going to be out there handing out candy, and get down to Main Street, because it goes on to, 7 o'clock, Dennis?
Goes to 7 o'clock, yeah, and you know where to park, too, right?
Yeah, you park on Riverside Drive.
Yeah,
we got places
that's where
to
I
park. You can park over there by the community center in those lots there. We have parking in the parking garage as well. So there are parking spots all around for everybody to be able to go and enjoy all the treats for the little ones.
I wanted you to at least mention where you told me to park, and you were right. I was afraid it might be blocked off, but I came down High Street, took a right, and a left onto Bridge, and then a left into Riverside Drive, and I'm right behind the River Club, right, Matt? Okay. River Room. Okay, River Room. Okay.
River Room. We love that. You set that up.
Let's hope that's my only mistake of the night.
All right. We have some great guests.
We have some great guests with us tonight, and I will introduce them, Susan. And,
please do. Please
proceed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's my turn. And, we want to make sure, Tuesday, November 4th. That's a big day. This is a big day today, Halloween, October 31st. But for us who are here, November 4th, and for you too, folks, November 4th, Tuesday, November 4th, is a big deal. That's when we have our municipal elections, right? Bill Zenko, who is from Coventry, and
Carolyn.
Arabolos. Arabolos. Carolyn Arabolos, from both former members of the Coventry Town Council. Bill Zenko, I go back with many, many, many years. He and I used to be parallel, sort of. I was running campaigns here in Wyndham, and he was running them in Coventry. Did it for 20 years, and we thought we'd have them in tonight just to make sure that people are reminded that Tuesday, November 4th is a big day. Now, the polls you're from Coventry, the polls will be open from
6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And just if I could remind folks, it's not the big election, right? Folks think about a big election, the presidential election, but voting local is important. The municipal elections are your town and city leadership, so vote local. Please get out and vote on November 4th. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Very good, Carolyn.
Excellent. Let me always say this, because whenever we talk about voting locally, and I serve locally as well, and so did you, Dennis, and I just have to say, the most profound impact on your lives are the people who you elect in the municipal elections. They have the biggest effect. So make sure you get out and vote, because that's the big impact on your lives.
Yep. And if you cannot get there on November 4th, early voting is going on now throughout the state. So please go to your town hall, your city hall, probably in your registrar's office. But you can vote now if you cannot make it to the polls on November 4th.
Yeah, Carolyn, where's the voting, early voting being done in Coventry?
So in Coventry, it is at Coventry Town Hall at 1712 Main Street. Is that the right address?
I believe so.
And it's in the registrar's office. So for those of you in Coventry, it's down the end of the hall when you come in the main door in the back there. You go down to the end of the hall, and the registrars are there. They have been there since Monday, I think this past Monday, and they will, or maybe the Monday before, because I think it's been 2 weeks altogether.
It's a long time.
14
they've been
days.
there. Yeah, they've been there for a number of days, waiting for folks to come in and cast their ballots.
And it's not like last year. There's no wait, no lines, no waiting.
Yeah, that's true.
It's quick in and out.
That's right. It's a municipal election. We're hoping that everybody out there, Republican, Democrat, Green, whatever, Independent.
Yep.
We want everybody to vote. That's one reason why we're here, is to remind everybody to vote. Susan, you had something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say in Wyndham, it is the town hall, and Eastern Connecticut State University is another place where you can do early voting, and that's in the Johnson Room at Eastern Connecticut State University. So we have those two early voting places, and in the town hall at 979 Main Street in Willimantic, and at Eastern Connecticut State University, and the Johnson Room where the library is.
I was going to ask you that question, but you answered it for me.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so we want folks in Andover, Chaplin, Eastford, Coventry, Wyndham. We want everybody to go out and vote on Tuesday, November 4th. Now, there's an election going on, of course, in Coventry.
Yes, there is.
Okay, and you guys are both actually public officials in Coventry. But Bill, what are you doing?
Currently, I'm serving on the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay.
Currently.
Okay. And
And in the past, I've done other things.
you've done other things. You were town council?
10 years on the council. Prior to that, I was on the Board of Assessment Appeals. I've been on a bunch of ad hoc committees. I've been on 2 charter revisions, including the one that they're looking to revise now. Yeah, and speaking of going back a long way, Dennis, it's been a long time since I've been on the show. It took 15 years to get a call back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to talk to my agent.
We are.
I guess so, yeah. Hey.
That's very good, Bill. As Matt Rupert knows, we're in great demand here, and we're not, unlike Wayno. We only do one show a week.
I've only done Wayno once in '74. It was a long time ago.
Well, I can't get on Wayno's show, and I probably have lots of great stories I could tell about my days in Wyndham politics for
sure.
the last 45 years.
Sure.
But we're talking about the here and the now. And Carolyn, I know that in addition to being on the Board of Assessment Appeals, you are also, very importantly, on the library board.
That's correct. I'm a trustee of the Booth and Dimmick Memorial Library in Coventry.
You want to talk a little bit about the library and the status of the library and how it's changed? Because I was a player in that game.
You were, Dennis, and we always appreciate you.
And I appreciate all of you, too.
Yeah, so our library is been open for business after the remodel, and it's booming there. There's been a lot of programming. I'm sorry I didn't come with numbers, so I wasn't prepared to speak to that, but there are a lot of folks coming in, a lot of new patrons are coming in, existing patrons are using the services more and more. The children's programming has increased, so there's really been a great deal of activity there. We also have, as I'm sure you know, Dennis, a community room there. And that community room has definitely seen a lot of events. There is the Coventry Arts Guild has set itself up there as part of the Center of Town Culture for Coventry, and there's other groups that have used that space. So it's definitely getting a lot of use, and people are really enjoying the library.
I'm so happy about that. That was one of my favorite projects over the years, the library. It took a while.
Yes,
it wasn't easy, and with the leadership mainly of people like you and Joe Jankowski,
yep.
Who was the chairman, I believe, of the
He is the chair
library
of our
board,
and Margaret Kahn,
who lives across the street from us now, right, Susan?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
The librarian, and also the mainly the Democrats on the town council, who were led by Lisa Thomas, the chair, and that's how that library thing got done. That was a wonderful deal between John Elsesser at the time was the Coventry town manager.
That's correct.
And the town attorney was excellent, and I represented the library, and we made a deal that was a winner for both sides. The library was turned over to the town for financial reasons, mainly or only, so that the town could cover whatever expenses were needed to be paid when outside of grants and other income that you had there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct. Yes, that was a mutual decision to turn the property over to the town.
But at the same time, the town council is not running the library
That is
on a
correct.
day-to-day basis. That's being run, of course, by the librarian, but under the control, with the support and oversight of the library board on which you sit.
That is correct. Yeah, the board of trustees. Yeah, very active board of trustees at that library.
Oh, yeah.
So very
Well,
proud to be part of that.
They were very active. In fact, I had a lot of input from a lot of people on that project, and it was wonderful to work with them all. And one of the people I worked with who was on that board who did a wonderful job was my former colleague on the probate court, Claire Twerdy.
Yes.
Claire and I were elected the same year
Oh, really?
to the probate court, and she outlasted me because she's a little younger, and they have maybe a lot, and they have rules on how long you can serve on the probate court. They cut you off at a very young age, and so I had to leave. But anyway, that was a great project, and that's an example of a lot of the great things that have been done in the past few years by the Coventry public officials. And I don't know if you have any stories about the Board of Assessment Appeals or about the ZBA, but Yeah, maybe you could talk a little bit about the Board of Assessment Appeals and what you do on that board.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. This is actually my first term on the Board of Assessment Appeals, and it was quite the learning experience, Dennis, because we had across Connecticut, right, the property revaluations.
Oh, yeah.
So for those who may not be familiar with a Board of Assessment Appeals, the BAA hears from property owners who are appealing or disputing their property values. And so, of course, that certainly translates into how much they pay for taxes, how much their property is deemed, the value of their property. So we had a great opportunity to meet with a number of folks in Coventry to hear about what they believe their property is worth and why, and to be able to have that opportunity to go through that assessment or that vetting process to understand it. And so that's essentially what the BAA does, the Board of Assessment Appeals, is it hears those appeals about property values.
Yeah, of course, Susan is our state representative now, but I think you started, Sue, on the ZBA where Bill Zenko is now. Maybe he's starting to move back up to the town council. Not this year.
Let's not get excited
Let
here.
me just say, I also served on both the Board of Assessment
I know.
Appeals and the Zoning Board of Appeals, and as town attorneys, we also represented towns, which I represented some of our towns in those cases that were appealed from the Board of Assessment Appeals to the court.
The Superior Court. That's right, the
I've
special
got a
court.
range of experience in the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's very very interesting to learn all of that.
It is
yeah.
very good to
Well,
understand how it works.
that's one of the things I love about being involved in local government. Another reason why I think all the people out there, if you can get to the polls either early or on November 4th, you should go out there and vote for somebody to fill these boards and commissions, because those people work hard.
Yes.
They don't get paid, most of them, and they do it because they love their town, right, Bill?
Absolutely.
I mean, you got
Yeah,
involved in it because you're
The zoning
you're
board,
an extrovert.
the zoning board of appeals is the most exciting place to be on a once a month. But you know what? We get the job done, and mostly we deal with people who are requesting variances, mostly for some construction projects. And we're also seeing a lot of requests from around Coventry Lake because many of their properties predated zoning.
Yep.
And so we've been very lenient in terms of granting. I think in 4 years that I've been on the ZBA, we've only denied one application. And that was someone who wanted to have a pig farm in an area that shouldn't have a pig farm.
In a neighborhood where as Bob Dylan sang once, one should never ever be where one does not belong.
Right.
Anyway,
That's the only one. No controversy.
I had to get Dylan in there.
Yeah.
Matt knows I love Dylan.
Who
Anyway,
doesn't?
who's Bob Dylan? You guys know.
Of course.
Okay, Carolyn maybe not, but Zenko knows, and Susan Johnson knows,
Oh, yeah.
and Matt Rupar knows.
Big
Because he
fan
hears
for
about
years.
them all the time from me. Okay, so municipal officials, everything they do is important to the people who come before them.
Yep.
And it's important. If somebody needs a variance for a piece of property, Bill Zenko's right there, and the rest of the people on the ZBA, and I'm sure you've got a good group, and also on the Board of Assessment Appeals. Carolyn, you described it very well. And in the reval year, which we just went through, we had a lot of problems because a lot of people, we had done a lot of construction work in this town. I was on the town council and helped make it happen. A new community center, renovated high school, new parking garage, which Susan got half the money for from the... Okay, she wants to talk.
Well, no, you can finish your sentence. I was trying to be subtle.
Oh, you were saying
I'm
you
being
were...
subtle, like I'm being a subtle.
Are you being subtle? You? You're being subtle?
That was the word of the day,
Okay,
right?
this happens all the time. It is not easy.
Yeah, I just wanted to
As
say.
I've said many times, it is not easy, Wayno, to host a show with another person.
All right.
When you're
All right, Mr. Coho, I'll go ahead if you want to, since I
you can
interrupted
go
you
ahead for a
already.
minute,
So I
I'll
just
give
wanted
you
to say
30
about
seconds.
it's not really as much in so many ways. We did increase our property values because we have done a lot of good work here and we've improved the image of the town. However, not just here, but all over the state of Connecticut, I want to just make sure people understand that the values of the residential property increased while the business properties did not. And so what happened is there was a transfer in terms of the cost to the residential property owners as opposed to balancing it out between both business and residential. But this is not a problem unique to Wyndham. It is a problem that has been experienced by the entire state of Connecticut, and people have come back to the capital of not understanding what happened. But what's happened is value, because the housing market is so so tiny in terms of availability of housing. We're short about 110,000 units right now in the state of Connecticut. Because of that, the value of residential property has gone way up, whereas the businesses have stayed about the same, but that transfers the cost of how you operate your town from a balance to the residential, and that's how that works. So what we'd like to do, and if you have that problem as you proceed through these procedures, and you find out your reval is, say, being done this coming year, and your finance director knows, hey, you're going to go way up high because of the changes in residential property costs, then you can actually go to your legislature, to the state representative and the state senator, and say, hey, I'd like to do this over a 5-year period if you'd let us. And then what will happen is the representative will present that in the legislature to, instead of having it done all at once and have that impact all at once, what will happen is it will be done over a 5-year period. But it has to be done by legislation.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something about the Coventry people, and
Sure.
I have gotten around, and I've worked in a lot of towns. I worked in Coventry at one project. That's it. I've never been the town attorney there, but I have worked with John Elsesser on other things. Mm-hmm. And I got to say this, Carolyn, you appeared with me on our TV show, which was once called Wyndham Works a few years ago, with a bunch of people from the town council. Mm-hmm. I think Jonathan Hand was with you.
That's correct. Yeah.
There were a few others, and I must say it was one of the most impressive groups I have ever seen. That in terms of a town council, from the town council of Coventry, you had a good town council. You got a great town council now, and I think you've accomplished an awful lot in the past few years.
Yeah, and good things are still happening and have happened in Coventry over the last 10, 15 years. Dennis, when you look at the new public works facility, which is fabulous, the library renovation, which is tremendous. We built the senior center. It's all staffed up now. People are enjoying that down by the lake. We've got the new fire station up by Dimitri's up in North Coventry. It's fabulous. All these things contribute to the economic well-being and development of the town.
Well, we love Dimitri's, but I'll tell you, we thought we were the only ones around here that were doing all this building stuff, and with this new community center and whatnot. But it sounds like you're doing an awful lot there in Coventry too, and you have to do that. You cannot stand still.
Yeah, and we're really taking care of the schools. Coventry Democrats have always been pro-education, and we were happy enough to get a really good grant that was taking care of our HVAC, which is now mandated by state law, HVAC and energy and roof replacement stuff, and that's ongoing, and it will continue. It's going to be great for the kids. Be able to use those facilities year round.
I love that. I remember going to summer school.
It was hot.
My mother would send me to summer school, even though I really didn't need it.
Sure, Dennis.
I was a great student until I went to junior high school. I became a real hard-hitting New Britain guy. Hard-hitting New Britain, that's what they say. But when I was a little kid, I was pretty good. But she probably wanted me off her hands for the summer.
Yeah.
And I like being in school, and I like to talk, in case our listeners don't know that. And
I know that.
I love to be in a crowd and would have a captive audience. And so I did like summer school, but it was awfully hot.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know, Susan, I knew that a lot of towns are putting in HVAC like Coventry is for the schools. I think that's wonderful.
Well,
I think that's good. It's really important for the kids to be, and the teachers and the administrators to be comfortable.
And let me just say one quick thing about that,
Sure.
because the HVAC thing started under COVID.
Yep.
Because a lot of and one of the first things that I did, because of Dennis's sister, who was an APRN at Yale New Haven Hospital, and she got TV because the HVAC system wasn't right.
Oh.
So as soon as I found out that we had COVID problems, I went right to leadership and I said, we've got to do something about HVAC. I went to the University of Connecticut. I went all around because I said, you can transmit diseases that way if you don't have a good HVAC system. And let me just say one quick other thing about that. The HVAC systems where we used to work when we were at Legal Services, that our former landlord didn't change the filters enough. And so I was always after him as well.
She was after him.
I'm all about HVAC.
She keeps on my tail too sometimes about things, and that, Susan, I didn't know you played that big a role in that.
I didn't play that big a role, but I was there.
But you played a role
going
in it.
blah, blah,
and so
blah.
including helping your own district, you've helped Coventry.
Yep,
Exactly.
absolutely.
We're all in this together. That's what I
Yes, we
keep
are.
saying. We
Yes,
got to
we
work
are.
together. We're all in this together.
Absolutely.
Our towns need to work more closely together. We've always had great times in Coventry. I coach many softball games in Coventry. I have never seen a better girls softball program in the Little League than Coventry. It's
Very proud of
fantastic.
that girls softball program.
Well, I
Plus the new fields.
yeah, I
If you've been
I
had
know
a
all
chance to
about
go
that.
down, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
I coached girls softball in Wyndham for almost 40 years.
Wow.
And I played many games against, who's the guy that ran it for so many years? Great guy. Anyway, and there's a woman also, and they've done a marvelous job there, and it was always a pleasure to be there. They always treated us very well. We had a great relationship, and I really miss them.
Yeah, if I could just maybe
Yep.
build on what we're talking about in terms of buildings, right? There's so much more to success than those physical elements, right?
Sure.
And when we talk about our schools, which we're very proud of in Coventry, and we know that Coventry is a sought after town for parents when they want to make sure their children are getting a good education. We also have academic achievements. Just to give you a couple of examples, SAT math scores. Top 18% of the
Wow.
state. We have college credit courses there. There's a number of parents. Any town meeting, you can certainly hear from parents who have said their children, by the time they went to college, they already had some credits under their belt, and that's a savings for those parents, right?
Perfect.
That's big. And then there's also, with the technical school as well. When we talk about, again, other successes, we've resolved some big deficits. Those are always something that any town or city is coming up against, right, is the financials. And been able to resolve for our EMS fund that was underfunded by almost $750,000, and our waste management, at almost $60,000. So we've had some really great successes from an infrastructure perspective, as well as from, the actual financial foundation of the town.
Well, the people of Coventry are very lucky, folks, because Coventry government's in very good hands. This is
believe
Dennis
so.
O'Brien with Susan Johnson, Carolyn Arabolos.
Arabolos.
Okay, I'll get it. Sooner or later, I'm going to get it right.
Next show.
Carolyn Arabolos and Bill Zenko from Coventry. We're reminding everybody to do what on November 4th, Carolyn?
Vote.
November
Okay.
4th, do it now. Do it November 4th, but remember how important your local voting is.
Thanks so much for coming in. It's great to see you again, Bill and Carolyn.
Well, we'll see you in
Thank you for
15
having
years.
us. Yeah.
Well,
or
no,
so.
no.
I'll be out earlier. Thank you
Hopefully,
for having
we'll
us,
have to have you
Dennis.
come
Thank
back
you,
after the
Susan.
election,
Thank you.
sometime after the
Pleasure.
election.
Really
Hopefully
pleasure.
not 15 years from now.
Okay.
I hope I'm around 15 years from now. Thank you so much.
Me too. Thank
Okay, we're going to take a break now. We'll come right back with, we've got another set of guests coming in. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Here with my co-host Dennis O'Brien, and happy Halloween again. And we have another wonderful guest for you this evening, Sarah Dufresne, and she does multiple things here in Eastern Connecticut. And so welcome to the show, Sarah. And I want to start off with what you're doing on, what you're looking forward to on November 4th, because you're a candidate.
I am a candidate. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for having me. Lovely to be here. Yes, I am currently running for Mansfield Town Council. I live in Mansfield, lived there for over 25 years now. So I'm excited to throw my hat into the political arena.
And I think you might have a little bit of an employee program time at Mansfield as well. So what work did you do there before?
Yep. So I worked at Mansfield for over 9 years, almost 10 years. I worked in their human services department, many roles. I worked at their senior center for a while. I worked in youth services for the main chunk of my time there. And then I ended in adult services as a social worker there. So I left there, and now I am where I am now.
All right, and let's say where you are now, because we're very proud, and this is where you and I met when you took the position as the executive director of the Holy Family Shelter here in Willimantic.
Yes. So that was actually another kind of neat story. So while I was in grad school, I needed an internship, and I was, pointed in the direction of Holy Family, and it was such a great experience. So much so that I applied for the job as their executive director, and have been there now for almost a year and a half. It's been really an exciting adventure.
I got to give you a little history on that. When I was with Legal Services, Connecticut Legal Services, when we were very, very active, and I was head of the statewide housing task force. Hannah Clemens, former first selectman, Irene Glasser, a professor at Eastern, and I formed a coalition against homelessness. This is probably in the 80s, and Sister Mary Peter from St. Joseph's Church was joined with us. And for at our first meeting, she said, I'm going to go over and ask them if we can use those buildings that are not in use as a shelter. Yeah. And I can't take any credit for doing that. Sister Mary Peter did that, and it was the first really big thing we did. One of the best things we did was Hannah Clemens came up with the idea of setting up a fund for security deposits for people. But the biggest thing of all was turning those buildings, or that building, I don't know, you could talk about that some more, I don't know the facility that well, into a shelter for the homeless, because we sure as heck needed it. And I got to tell you, when Susan and I started with Legal Services, I started in 1972 as a lawyer. I don't remember anybody being homeless here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I started in 79, and we still didn't have any homeless people that were problematic until sometime in the mid to late 80s because of the cutbacks that Ronald Reagan put into effect.
That's right, and that's the reason why so you're dating it good, because I couldn't remember the date that
it was
when we started the Coalition Against Homelessness, and it had to be around what you said.
And the other thing that we started was a soup kitchen, and that was started by that minister over there,
Malcolm McDowell.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so we had those two things here, and those were started in the 80s, but things really were exacerbated back when Clinton became president and changed the aid to families with dependent children to the temporary assistance for needy families, which then this state under Rowland changed it to the second worst program in the entire country, making women and children off the program permanently after 21 months with less than the actual federal poverty level in terms of supplements for money. But I helped change that. But we're not going to talk about me and how I helped change it to 29 months or 35 to 35 months actually. And I increased the amount, but nevertheless, I'm still not happy. I want the whole 60 months, and I want to see where we are with the money from the federal government to the state, because we should be paying for women and children so they don't become homeless.
Absolutely.
Okay, but anyway, that's our
Bring
little
us up
introduction.
to date.
But we're thrilled to have you here.
So the shelter actually opened in 1989, and Sister Mary Peter was definitely the one behind at the helm.
You got the right year then.
I did.
This
is part of my, I think part of me getting the job. I had to know all these lovely things. Sister Mary Peter, Sister Mary Jude, they've always been just a very integral part of that shelter. Bonnie Ryland was the director there up until 2022 when she retired. And then, here I am. So it's been a huge year of change. The shelter did unfortunately kind of go through a not so good part, but we're back, and I think that part of that, and actually I think the biggest part of that, is this community and the people here around us that just rallied together to keep us where we are. We were able to expand our shelter, which is something that I don't think could have even been possible without the community support. We had an entire second floor of rooms that were not being used. So Marie Hackmiller, again, a community name that if you don't know Marie Hackmiller, you do not live in Willimantic.
Thank you. We agree.
She and I are contemporaries.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is.
So she went out and she just started asking local organizations, hey, you want to sponsor a room? And they came up to bat, and we were able to expand an additional 8 rooms for families for under $6,000.
Wonderful, fabulous.
And we were able to increase our capacity from 32 to 40 guests that can stay there, as long as they need to. And we also have the ability to take additional families in an event of an emergency. So, again, in these cold months ahead, a family is told that they have 5 hours to leave their apartment and they literally have nowhere to go. We are in a position to take those families and keep them warm and keep them safe. And that, I think, has always been the mission of the shelter. And it's something that all of us that's what we strive for every day, is that safety, that place where people can go on some of their darkest, most vulnerable days.
Exactly.
It's amazing. What you do is amazing. What Sister Peter did in starting it was amazing. How it's been continued by Bonnie Ryland and whatnot is amazing. In fact, whenever Susan and I have been involved in many campaigns over the years, political campaigns, and we always buy food for Election Day or for other events. And whenever we have any leftover food, Susan always says, bring it to the St. Joseph's.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And usually you have room for it.
Oh, they love it. Let me just tell you.
We bring some dry grinders
We have
and
an
stuff.
amazing cook, so we do provide meals.
Yeah,
That is
of
another
course.
thing about our shelter that does kind of set us apart
That is great.
is we have a cook, and
Wow.
they
Great.
make their own breakfast, but they get lunch and dinner every day. And we make stuff that they want to eat. We always ask for their suggestions. What do you guys want? It actually makes our cook's job much easier. But it is a really just, it is a home. And I think that's the way that we like to look at it. And it is just it's a gift to this community. And another kind of unique thing about us is we have very large spaces. That was the original Windham Hospital. The rooms are extremely big. So we can take families of 6, families of 8, and a lot of shelters in the whole state of Connecticut can't do that.
Right.
So we actually get a lot of families from across the state or in other areas because we can keep them all together. And, to me, that's important. We also created rooms where we can take single elderly women who might not feel safe in other places or other shelters. And that has really, they kind of become, I don't want to sound ageist, but they become like the house grandmas, and they love it. And they love to take care of the young
You're not
kids.
sounding ageist.
No, I know. I just
No,
they
that's
are.
wonderful.
But they love it too.
If anybody's going to complain about ageism, it's me. And
Okay.
I'm not going to complain about that.
No, I mean,
Other people,
I love
not
being a
you.
Grammy, and I don't think of it as an ageist thing. I think it is just a wonderful thing to be able to connect with the little ones, and it really helps you think about the future. It connects you with your community. I mean, being with the little children and making sure they're feeling connected and not traumatized by the loss of a home. That's one of the big things that I emphasize with my work at the Capitol and in the Education Committee, is when somebody is out of their home and they have to leave. That's a trauma for the little ones, and it does have an impact on how they perform in school. So having that support from people, having them have that feeling and that connection of home is very, very, very important. So that's a great thing to hear.
It's vital.
about.
It's vital.
Yeah, and
It
that's
really
something
is,
that's
yeah.
so important. When you walk into our doors, I always joke with people, if you look at the outside of our building, it's this very stoic brick building.
Yep.
Sure.
And when
It's Catholic.
when you walk in, it's alive. It's a home. There's a living room with couches and toys and
Yeah.
puzzles and coloring.
It's marvelous.
And, I think that that's kind of the part of it that is so important, is when these children, like you said, Susan, they don't understand homelessness. We get these
No.
little 2 and 3 year olds, they don't understand why they're not sleeping in their bed anymore. So to try to make it as normal and peaceful and, again, safe, I keep going back to that word, because I think that's how you lessen that trauma for these children. Is it's a place where they stayed, they were safe, they rebuilt. We actually have a lot of people that come back who had lived at the shelter many, many years ago, some
Thank you.
kids, to thank us and just say how it changed their lives and thank you for the support. And, to me, those are the days that keep you going, right? I mean, it's not an easy job. But it's
No.
so important, and it's a blessing to be able to work with these families. And again, just going back to that community support, if we didn't have support from people like you guys and just community members, businesses that day after day show up for us, we wouldn't be here right now. So
This is a wonderful community. We've lived here since 1974, and we could move somewhere else, but this everybody's welcome here.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's not welcome, and we do our very best. It is not perfect. It is much needier than you worked in Mansfield. I worked there. It's much needier than Mansfield, but it is It is special.
Yeah.
It is
No, I
special,
love it.
and the fulfillment. I mean, your job's got to be real difficult. It was real difficult for me when I was a legal aid lawyer. When I first started, people would get evicted, and I'd help them move. I had to stop doing that after a while, so I just didn't have time for it. But it's just that I'm a bleeding heart, and you got to be a bleeding heart to do what you do. And it is somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
feel
like the people at the soup kitchen. They are meeting.
And I think that's another really great point to bring up. We all work together.
Yeah.
WAME, the Soup Kitchen, Project Hope, we are all in this together.
Yeah.
We all work together. We all, if we have extra of something, we're calling them, do you need it? And it is really just a neat way that we do surround just to help people that need it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a need that I don't think people even realize the extent, the amount of it. But we're happy to be here to help and to help families. We take whole families, and people. Someone once asked me, what's a family? How do you define a family? And I said, well, I think that families define a family. If you come to our doors and you say, this is my family, I'm not going to question who those people are. Right. Yep.
Right.
I was like, if that's your family, great. You're all here in
You don't have to fill out all
you're
these
good
papers.
in my book. No.
And I understand why the government does that, and it could be because there's a lot of pressure from taxpayers. But but most people who go to places for people in need are needy. They don't go there. They're not crooks. They're not. They're not trying to.
I don't think anybody wants to share a room with their 4 children that's 12 by 12. I mean, and it is nice that they all get to stay together and we're able to provide a place for them to be. But the end goal here is to get them into permanent housing, to get them into apartments. And I love how you said you were helping people move out. One of my favorite days is the day that I get to wear, dress down and help people move in.
I was helping them move out and in.
It's my favorite part is helping them move into their new places, and those hugs and those smiles and those cries. Oh,
you're right.
The best part.
You can't beat that.
I just want to say a few things, and a couple of things that I wanted to help us focus on, because one of the things we're going to be focused on coming November 12th and 13th is we're going into session. And one of the things I want to try and have here, and we blast this on the air, and we also, I always have this go at the Capitol. And I just want to talk a little bit about what we need here, what you need from the state, and how we can continue to help the people. And I'm afraid we're going to run into even more difficulty with food problems, with Medicaid, with homeless problems. So tell us a little bit about the things that you need from the state to help you do this work.
Yeah, I think that the biggest barrier that we see is that security deposit, that finding that lump sum of money to move into an apartment. Mm-hmm. And, we have guests that can't even pay application fees for apartments because they're $50. So again, we're fortunate to have, donors that give us the money and allow us to do that. But this is a barrier that we face time and time and time again is, if people can't save up the couple extra $100 for groceries, how are they saving a couple extra $1,000 to move into an apartment? It's impossible. It is impossible.
What's the average price?
Okay, so now with rental rates the way that they are, I would say if you're looking at a 3-bedroom apartment for a family, you're usually starting at $2,000.
Oh my God.
So if you're looking at a normal first, last, and security, that's $6,000. And sometimes we can work with landlords. There are amazing landlords out there that understand and want to help, the homeless. So they're great, and they will help us in any way possible, but they still need something.
Yeah.
And really, I think that's a huge problem. There's just also not enough affordable housing out there. I think that's number 2. Right. It is, that's great that, and again, another common misconception at the homeless is that they don't work. Almost every single person at my shelter has a job.
Right.
Thank you for that, because that is something that we need to emphasize every single day, that people in these circumstances are working, but the amount of money they make isn't that much. Tell us a little bit about some of that.
Yeah, so here's a perfect example. We have a family there now. Mom's pregnant. Dad works so hard. His truck broke down. How do you at that point, you make this, in a lot of them, when you ask families how they entered homelessness, it was we got behind on bills and our muffler broke. And we had to have our muffler fixed because that's how we got to work. And we couldn't pay our rent. So I think, again, there just needs to be some sort of a better system to stop it before it starts. That homelessness prevention, I think there needs to be a shift to. I actually in grad school did a lot of research on this. And
This is good.
yeah, this is the way that kind of the country is heading, is into this idea of what supports can we put in place before. And a lot of that is these rental assistant programs, these things to help people get their cars repaired. A lot of this also goes down to childcare. Childcare is unaffordable in the grand scheme, especially in a single parent household.
Yep.
And, how do you work? How do you work? How do you actually work when your children are not school aged? And that is another problem that we see over and over. So
I just want to focus on
Yeah.
that for a minute, because what happens is there is this requirement still under the temporary assistance for needy families that the mom has to work. Now, the mom can go and get some training, but where does the child go? So do you have, what's happening with the children in these circumstances? Where can they go and not have to pay?
right? Again, I don't know the answer to that. And in our shelter, we have unique ways around that. How I mentioned that we have these single older women, they do provide free childcare to these families, which is beautiful. And they love it because it gives them purpose, and they like getting up and they love it. So it does allow a lot of our families to work. And but on a state level and on a nationwide level, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I think it just takes a shift in thinking. And again, just to talk politics for a small second, is a lot of people look at these things as entitlements when you really have to shift that thinking that these are basic human needs.
Right.
We want people to have families. We want communities to thrive and flourish, and we have to support people from the bottom up. And I think that's really where this is all going.
What we did this session is we created a fund that should be available in a few years to help pay for early childhood care. So we do have that fund that we're starting. But it's not going to have the money in it right away, and we're faced with billions of dollars in losses in the state based on the bill that was passed by and signed into law by President Trump. And that bill has taken billions of dollars from health care. Now it's taking billions of dollars from food programs and shelters, and there's really nothing available in the bill to address special needs kids or these kinds of things that are things that we've had in the past that have been taken out of this bill for tax breaks for billionaires. So it's really a real problem, and this is just the law. I'm not being political, but it's just that's a law.
Well,
it's a law that was passed.
I agree. I agree with you. You're not being political, but it is reality, and
it's going to hit this
it's
place.
It's a sad reality.
It's going to hit this place harder than other places because we have so many people here that we take care of. Wyndham takes care of, the surrounding towns do not. The surrounding towns maybe will send some money, but they don't actually do the work, like have the housing or have the shelters or have the soup kitchens.
Nope. We are, Connecticut is, the poorest towns in the state are isolated. And you said you have people coming here from other towns, from as far as maybe Hartford.
Oh, even further.
Really? Even further coming here because people,
Waterbury,
word gets around. Word gets around that you've got a really great facility here, but you have limitations too, serious limitations. I don't know how you do it. Because the cost of living when I started in legal aid in 1972 was a heck of a lot lower than it is now, and I knew a lot. I had a lot of clients that were in poverty back then, and some of them now are business people, nurses, doctors, lawyers. Yeah. Because there was upward mobility. Mobility has been restricted greatly
Yep.
in this country.
And
It costs a
that's-
fortune to go to college now.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the other things we do. I mean, again, with Help the Community, we try to empower these people to get better education. We have a program that helps people get certifications and just better themselves, and really just get better jobs and employment. And that's really what we do. We surround them with love and we surround them with hope, and we work to help them. But our biggest problems is really, where do they go? How do they get there?
Right, excellent. So we want you to summarize this because we're running down to our last part of the show.
Yep.
And just give us what we need to do, and this is going to be broadcasted throughout on my webpage. So just
Sure. Yeah, I would, again, like to really move towards prevention. Look at ways, during COVID, we had those rent programs that help people stay in their homes. That helped people stay in their homes. It literally kept people out of homelessness. So I think, again, if we can just shift the thinking to the what do we do after to the what can we do before. And again, I think a lot of that just takes a shift in thinking and how do we help people on a much, deeper level, but also a surface level. And I think, just trying to identify those needs and really just focusing on that. That's what I would say.
Sarah Dufresne, so happy to meet you
Thank
here
you.
and to hear you talk about the one of the places that I feel very warm about, and I should, and we all should, the Holy Family Home and Shelter. It's a great place, and I want to have you back real soon.
Oh, sure.
I want to get periodic reports from you.
I do want to get her back.
I want to adopt this
Yes.
this structure
Yeah.
and this person for let's talk about it on WILI.
Me too.
We need to promote
we
this.
need to actually ask Sarah, is there a way we can make contributions?
Yes, so anybody can go on our webpage, which is hfhscommunity.com. So HFHS as in Holy Family Home and Shelter. You can also look for us on Facebook, and there's ways to get to our website, but there's donation links on there. We also do a really neat thing, an Amazon wish list, where people can literally just pick really easy things that we need, like paper towels, things like that. So all of that information is on our website.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This is Dennis O'Brien with Susan Johnson, Sarah Dufresne, Matt Rupar. We will be back next week with another great show.